working our way up. And so tonight we are talking about hair bonds and the growth cycle. So I know the growth cycle I was not unfamiliar with because, again, in our community we talk about these things. But I got a much better understanding of the growth cycle parts. We'll get into that, but I just got a better understanding. And I was like, you when you are informed and you want to share it. So I want to share all of this with you all. And then the hair bonds, I was never even thought about the different bonds or why our hair does what it does when it comes to like our curl patterns and different things like that. So um hair bonds and growth cycle is what we'll be discussing tonight. And all of us probably are natural, have kinky coily hair. And we know that with our kinky coily hair, we sometimes encounter some unique challenges within our black hair, our texture, coily, unique hair. We often face challenges. And our hair, our kinks, our coils, our curls, while they look as if the structure of them look like they're quite strong and just vibrant at the same time, every coil and bend is weaker. Is all of those coils, those bends, is a point of weakness in our hair strand. So every bend, twist, and coil is a potential weak area that could be harmed or damaged based off of what we're doing. And so taking extra care of our hair is extremely important, especially if you're trying to retain growth. Just being gentle with your hair, especially if you're relaxed or color treated, you're more prone to breakage, which will not lead you to the growth that you're looking for. So being careful with your hair because although it looks very strong, there are weaknesses in there. And so as we think about that, so there are three types of hair bonds. Hi, Janice. Thank you for joining. So we have three types of hair bonds. We have disulfide, I think I'm saying that right. Disulfide bonds, salt bonds, and hydrogen bonds. And I'm going to actually type this in the chat because I probably am saying it wrong. All right, there we go. So, disulfide, salt, and hydrogen bonds are the three types of hair bonds. Disulfide bonds, they are strong, they're permanent bonds, and they are responsible. Hi, Lakeisha. Thank you for joining. They are responsible for our curlness in our hair. Those bonds, disulfide bonds, they cannot be broken by water or heat. The only thing that can break that bond is chemicals, such as relaxers, can disrupt them. And once they are broken, they cannot be undone. So again, they're the strongest of the bond. They're permanent. They can't be broken by water or heat, only chemicals. So when we were relaxed, think about it in that way. When we use relaxer and it literally straightens the bonds of our hair, that's what it's doing. It's permanently breaking that I'm probably saying this wrong. Disulfide bonds. And so the next type of bond is our salt bonds. So this you'll find out. So our salt bonds, they're found in the cortex. So remember last week we talked about no, that wasn't last week. Week before last. The second, I think it was our second live. We talked about the hair structure, far as the medulla, the cortex, our cuticle layers. We talked about the different layers. So this particular bond, the salt bond, is found in the cortex, and it can be broken by the pH changes. When we think about what changes our pH, think about the type of shampoos that we use. Shampoos, they range on a high to low pH scale. And so, depending on the type of shampoos that you're using, that can alter, hi Miss Bernice, that can alter your salt bonds. Our salt bonds, they're stabilized by adjusting the hair's pH balance. So that's what our salt bonds do. And then this is the one that I found the most fascinating. I was like, wow, like, and that is the hydrogen bonds. Though this is the one that we probably didn't realize it, but the one that we probably are most familiar with when our hair changes. So our hydrogen bonds, they're flexible and temporary bonds that are affected by water and heat. Our hydrogen bonds enable the hair to hold different styles, such as our twist outs, roller sets, our wash and goes, because again, our hydrogen bonds, they're changed by either heat or water. So when we straighten our hair, which is temporarily, we're changing that hydrogen bond, and then when we wet it again, we are it's affected by, again, the hydrogen bond. Those bonds, their rebonding occurs as the hair dries, fixing it into that new shape. So we break the bond when we straighten the hair or when the hair is in a dry state. And then we kind of reactivate the bond when it's wet with water, or we'll just use water. And then once the hair dries, then the bond is semi-permanent, if that makes sense. I know that was a lot. And our hydrogen bonds are also responsible for frizzing, curl loss, and temporary changes in our styles. So I thought that was, when I was reading it, I was like, that makes sense. And so when we think about, because we can style our natural hair whether it's in a dry state or a wet state, but if you think about it, you get different looks or results depending on what state the hair is in. And all of that is altered by the hydrogen bond. Let me take a sip. Oh, I didn't ask everybody what we was drinking tonight. So I am drinking some Publix natural blackberry flavored lemonade. If you don't know, Publix have like some of the best lemonade. Publix got some of the best everything. Fruit, lemonade, wheat, chicken, all of that good stuff. So yes, for you all that are just joining us, we are in the realm of chatting about our hair bonds. And so we have 3 different types of hair bonds, and I put them in the chat. It's disulfide bonds, salt bonds, and hydrogen bonds. And just to kind of recap, our disulfide bonds, they're strong, they're permanent bonds, and they are responsible for the curlness of our hair. They cannot be broken by water or heat, only by chemicals such as relaxers. And once they are broken by that chemical, it cannot be undone. So basically, you're going to have to, that's where those people that are transitioning, that's where they're at. You either going to have to cut the relaxed hair off or let it grow out. But that bond cannot be undone. And then we have our salt bond, which is found within the cortex of the hair, and it's broken by pH changes. And we'll talk more about the different levels, of pHs, and um the products and ingredients and things that we use, how to figure out if it's a high pH or a low pH. But the pH is what changes the salt bonds in our hair, and that's where the adjustment of our pH come from. And then our hydrogen bonds, they're temporary bonds that's affected by heat or water. So anytime we wet our hair or we straighten our hair, it's the hydrogen bond that's being affected. And those hydrogen bonds allow us to do different styles, such as blowouts, twist outs, wash and goes, roller sets. Those bonds are responsible for allowing us to do that. Um, Okay, and then the rebonding occurs as the hair dries, allowing it to stay in that shape, not in that shape, but stay in that shape or style temporarily until you decide to go wash and reset your hair again. And again, those hydrogen bonds are responsible for the frizziness of our hair, curl loss, and changes in our hairstyles when it goes from wet to dry. So if you have any questions, please make sure you put them in the chat. I am taking a glance at the chat so I can make sure that I'm not missing anything. Hi, Miss Gloria. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Miss Bernice says she's drinking my last bottle of water for today. That's probably what I need to be drinking more of. I haven't had too much lemonade today. Miss Simone said I had a little cup of pineapple orange juice. Oh, that sounds good. And now drinking water. I definitely need to get more on my water. I haven't been doing good. But I will say, being in the curl mixers community has really inspired me to drink more water than what I had ever done prior to. So if I've taken a lot of good things away from the curl mix community. So I can't even just say the water, but that's definitely one of another big thing that I've been able to improve on over these last 2 years is my water intake. Learning just the importance, we grew up knowing that water is important and our body needs water and all of those things, which, yeah, that sounds good, but it wasn't like that important to me. But as I started to care for my hair and learn about my hair and learn that the health of my hair just don't start on the outside, it starts within. So making sure that I'm drinking the water from internally and hydrating inside is going to help with the hydration outside. And that is what encouraged me to drink more water. So I guess whatever it takes, that's what it took for me. All right. All right. So updated on the chat. So that was our hair bonds. Now let's get into our growth cycle. Yes, self-care. Self-care. Our growth cycle. So there are 4 phases of the growth cycle. Let me make sure I'm trying to make sure. I need a highlighter because I want to make sure that I don't. Okay. All right. So I'm just trying to make sure that I don't jump too far ahead from my notes. All right. So our hair growth cycle. So if you are not aware, our hair goes through different phases and different cycles, all at different times. Like one side of your head, or not even one side of your head, one strand of your hair could be in a growth phase, and the strand next to it can be in a resting phase. Like our hair, each strand of our hair is going through its own individual cycle. And so let's sit that there. Great way to explain the importance of drinking water. You're welcome, Miss Bernice. I can't even give myself credit. I learned that from our community, but for me, that's what worked for me. So we got to figure out how can we incorporate things in our life that's going to be meaningful for us. And for me, that's what inspired me to drink more water. Absolutely. Okay, so our hair growth is influenced by hormones. Our hormones influence our hair growth. Hormones controls our growth phase as well as our resting phases of our hair cycle. Hormones play a big role in almost probably like every aspect of the functions of our bodies. So to not think of that it plays a role in our hair, in the hair cycle, um, is something to think about. But our hormones definitely play a part. So for those that are probably going through, let's start at the bottom, like our adolescents that's going through puberty. We know that their hormones are all over the place. It's affecting their hair and growth cycle, their resting cycle, their growth cycle. For the seasoned ladies that are going through the menopause phase, that can also be affecting your hair cycle. Postpartum, for the ladies that are going through, that just gave birth to their babies. After it takes what, like basically 2 years for your body to really get back to its normal function of carrying that child, birthing that child. It takes 2 years, so your hormones are all over the place. So it's affecting your hair and your growth cycle. One of our girlfriends, I'm surprised she haven't jumped on here yet, but she's in that postpartum phase right now with her hormones and her hair, and she talked about the amount of shedding that she's currently going through. But when she was pregnant, like, her hair grew like weeds, y'all. When I tell you, let me just pause right here for a minute. Janelle, she gonna probably come back and watch this replay. Listen, Janelle started her curl mix journey in July of 2022. And she had literally a TWA. She had like literally this much hair. This girl got pregnant and her hair was like right here, like overnight. I'm like, well, darn, do I need to go get pregnant so I can go get some hair? Her hair grew like crazy, and literally her hair is like wet, is like shoulder length. Yeah, ideal is like shoulder length. And of course we know natural hair, it shrinks up. So when it's in a dry state, it's like here. And I'm like, oh my God, like let me go. No, I can't go get pregnant no more. I done had enough kids. But no, seriously. So our hormones truly do affect the hair cycle. So and then as well as hair loss. Low estrogen can be the reason why someone may be suffering from hair loss, which happens during menopause or hair thinning. So, just think about, when we think about, okay, oh my God, all my hair is coming out, I'm finding these bald spots, or I'm shedding. Let's figure out, like, what's going on. Are you stressed? Could it be your hormones? Could it be medication? Like, all of those things could play a role in what's going on in your hair. I was thinking about prenatal vitamins as well, because they have biotin and iron and a lot of those things that when you're pregnant, your hormones all over the place. So it's supposed to supplement that. But I'll tell you, I just recently, have y'all heard of the Black Girl vitamins? I'm pretty sure y'all have, because I see them strolling on my Facebook timeline. But I just recently ordered them, and it's a bundle. It has vitamin D, and from talking and listening to other people, vitamin D is one of those vitamins that a lot of Black women in our Black community lack. So it has vitamin D vitamins. It's hair and nail vitamins. A sea moss vitamin. What was the other one? It's 4 bottles. vitamin D, sea moss, hair, skin, and nails. It's another one. And then because I guess I ordered the bundle or I spent over a certain amount, it's giving me like a bottle of iron vitamins, which I definitely need because I've had my blood work done twice and my iron was like really low. So my hemoglobin was really low. So getting vitamins. So but I would definitely encourage you to go see your doctor, talk to a specialist, talk to a professional, a licensed professional, so you guys can come up with a plan and figure out what's going on and come up with a plan to address it. Um, you know, I don't want to be the person that tell you just go buy this and go do that. Probiotics. There you go. It was probiotics in there too. Yes. But yes, go talk to your primary care doctor, go talk to a specialist, go talk to someone that can help you determine kind of what's going on and y'all come up with a plan together to address any type of hormonal issues that you may be having. But just know that could be a factor as to why you may be experiencing what you're experiencing with your hair. That's the message. That's the message. And then our hair health reflects our overall body health. So as I stated before when I was telling you about my journey with not drinking water, but understanding like hydrating my body from the inside out will have a benefit factor when it comes to me hydrating my hair on the outside. So the same thing in reference to what we're putting in our body. Our overall health within our body is going to affect how our hair is growing or the lack of there is. So all of those things are playing a factor in your hair. And if you're unsure what's going on, go seek professional advice, consultation, a dermatologist, your primary care, or hormone therapist, whatever that is for you. Don't just get on Google and do WebMD. Like, go talk to a professional. Go seek second, third opinions until you guys are able to decide what the factor is. I just hit my yearly physical and my doctor took me off of my vitamin D's for 6 months because my vitamin D level was too high. Oh, that's good. That's good to know. And so I'm just like there's side effects and symptoms to having low vitamin D. I'm pretty sure there's side effects and symptoms to having high vitamin D still. Everything is about moderation, having moderate levels. So that's good that that you for one went to your annual visit, because we know a lot of people don't see their doctors, haven't been seen, and so overall health is important. And you can't take care of nobody else if you're not taking care of yourself. So going to your yearly physicals, as I shared with you all earlier in the live, I went and had my first mammogram done today, which was kind of scary, but it came out great. But going to get your exams, getting your blood work done, following up with your doctors to just make sure everything is good. So that's the message. Seek professional guidance and just know our overall internal health is going to affect the health of our hair. So let's get into the 4 phases of our hair growth cycle. We also get vitamin D from the sun. Absolutely, we do get vitamin D from the sun. Going outside, and I remember when I started going to therapy, and this was like during COVID, so like we wasn't really going outside, or we weren't supposed to be outside, and my therapist asked me like how my mood is and what I'm doing, and she was like, go outside and take a walk, just go. And I was like, okay. And like just going outside, just feeling the sun on your body, it really it released what's the hormone, oxytocin, I think that's what it called. It released the oxytocin hormone. Is somebody at my door? Yes. It released the hormone that just bring us excitement and joy and happiness. So yes, vitamin D is definitely great. But sometimes the sun might be enough and you might need that extra supplement. So I am going to put in the chat the hair growth cycles, and then we'll discuss them as followed. So we have the anagen cycle, which is the growth phase. Y'all, I cannot type at all. So we have the anagen, which is also known as the growth phase. We have the catagen, which is our resting phase. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Let me make sure I check correct that. Okay. And then we have our telogen phase. T-L-O-G-E-N. We have our telogen phase, which is our shedding phase. And I have some shed hair that I am going to share with you all from myself, my daughter, and my son. So we can see that everyone's shedding cycle and phase is going to be tailored to them. And then we have our exogen, which is our dormant phase. Which honestly, I feel like the dormant phase and the resting phase is almost like the same phase. But, you know. Alright. So I put our hair growth cycle stages in the chat just for visual purpose. Miss Bernie said, I think the vitamin D level should be known higher than 125, but mine was 131. Okay. So is this is the vitamin D level based off of age? It is based off of like age and weight, because you know, like different ranges vary depending on the sex, whether you're male or female, depending on your age range, different things like that. But that's good to know. And I think I heard this before that most of the time, like when we're getting our annual blood work done, the labs that the doctor order, vitamin D levels is not a standard it's not a standard lab. That's something that you either have to request, or based off of your symptoms and signs and symptoms and things like that, the doctor may order it. So I don't want no one to assume that when we get our annual blood work done that it's automatically included. That's one of those specialty labs that you have to request for your doctor to put in for you. Because I had to get, I went to see my primary care doctor for the first time. I ain't gonna tell you how many years it's been since I seen a primary care doctor, but it's been a while. She ordered me some lab work, and you know, it was the basic lab panel. The CMP panel, which is like for your liver panel, your kidney, thyroid, your CDC, which tests your blood, hemoglobin, your A1C, like the basic, but it didn't ask for vitamin D. So if that's something that you're concerned about, or you think you want to get your vitamin D level checked, you definitely have to request it. Coach Trell, excessive shedding can come from not getting your ends trimmed. Miss Bernice, you jumping ahead now, but yes, that is true. We'll definitely get into that. But yes, so let's discuss. So one of the first phases that I think most of us is like, that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants growth. And that is our anagen phase. That is our growth phase. That's the phase that everybody want to be in. And honestly, we're always in the growth phase. Like our hair grows. What did I put? Uh, 1.5 to an inch per month or every 30 days. So our hair is literally growing every day. The problem with growth is retaining the growth. Retaining the growth. So when people are like, my hair is not growing, your hair is growing. Our hair literally grows every day. However, you may not feel like you're retaining your growth because there could be something going on with our ends. Your ends is the oldest part of your hair. One of the things that I learned from one of our curl coaches is that our ends, Coach Tammy, she called our ends our elders. And when you think about our elders need the most help. They need the most support. So we have to take care of our ends. We have to be gentle with our ends. We have to moisturize our ends. We have to hydrate our ends. And we also have to trim our ends. So all of that can factor into you retaining growth. But our hair grows literally every day. Our growth phase, it can last on average. Again, average does not apply to everyone. It's just general. Yours can be less, so it could be more. It's on average. On average, our growth phase lasts anywhere from 4 to 7 years. Our growth phase lasts anywhere from 4 to 7 years. That don't mean that your growth phase can't last for 3 years. I said on average. And that don't mean that your growth phase can't last for 10 years. But in general, approximately 4 to 7 years is how long our growth phase can last. 88% of our hair is in this phase at any time. So you think about 100% of your hair, 88% of that is in a growth phase. And then the other 11% is in one of these other 3 phases that we're going to discuss. And then our growth phase, it shortens with age. So, as we get up in life and we get a little seasoned, our hair go through changes. It may not grow as quickly as it did back in our younger days. So, but everything changes with age. It gets better. Except for the growth cycle. That's not funny. All right, let me check out these comments real quick. Let me scroll up, make sure I didn't miss something. Right, it's not standard, but doctors will usually do one, especially with black women, because black people can be deficient in vitamin D. Absolutely. But yeah, so definitely if you think you are, talk to your doctor about it. But it's not a standard lab. I think it depends on your insurance. Most doctors know what your insurance will pay for. Yeah, definitely got to consider insurance because they don't be wanting to pay for a lot of stuff. I'm thankful my P.A.C.E tests everything. Yes, it's having a good primary care doctor that listen and don't mind going the extra mile or doing what it is for their patient. Those are the type of doctors that I love. I don't want a doctor just gonna dismiss me and be like, oh nope, it's not this, like, because I be looking real sideways, like, you know what, I'm finna go find me somebody else. And just me personally, and I hope this don't offend no particular community, but for me personally, especially with our healthcare system, me personally, if I can find one, I prefer to have a black doctor, because I feel like they understand what I'm going through. They understand my community. They understand my culture. They understand our experiences, and I don't feel like they're so dismissive when it comes to us sharing what we're experiencing. You know what I mean? I don't want to get too technical, but that's my preference. And so if I can find someone that looks like me and know my experience, for me, that's more comforting. But you know, in every situation, you can't always have one. But if I have a preference, that's my choice. All right, so that was our first phase, was our growth phase, which is also called the anagen phase. That phase can last anywhere from 4 to 7 years. Not saying it can't be shorter or it can't be longer, but that is on average. And at 88% of our hair is currently in this phase at any time, and it also shortens with age. The next phase of our hair cycle is the anagen phase. I mean, not anagen, the catagen phase, which is called the resting phase. That is when our hair growth is on pause, and also the melanin that actually produces our hair or skin color also stops. So during that resting phase, the hair growth is on pause, as well as the melanin production is on pause as well. This particular phase can last from anywhere from 4 weeks to 4 months. And 1% of our hair is in this phase. So 88% of our hair is in a growth phase. And then you have that 1% that's resting. So that's 89% of our hair that's doing something. And so that third phase, which is the telogen phase, which is the shedding phase. This is the phase. I spoke on this. I can't remember if it was a live or was it just one of my videos, but I've seen other influencers and product brands marketing products to stop shedding or reduce shedding. And in my mind, I'm like, but that's part of the cycle. The hair is supposed to shed. It's supposed to come out so that new hair can grow. Yes, excessive shedding is a thing, but not shedding at all is not a thing. That's just me. And I'm not a scientist. I'm not a cosmetologist. I'm not a black hair PhD. Like, I'm not like none of those things. But just, using a little common sense. If we got a phase that's a shedding phase, that means it's supposed to happen. Not there. It shouldn't be happening. Okay, but let me not get off my rant. But the telogen phase is our shedding phase. And that's when the hair naturally sheds. Now, I'm not sure how accurate this is, but it's something to keep in mind, and it's something for you to be observant of and take notes. Anytime I teach my master classes, I always tell the curl mixers to document your journey. Document, write down, learn your hair. And so one of the things that I've discovered, it says that your shed phase naturally occurs in late summer or early fall. I don't know how true that is or how that was determined, but that is something for you to maybe be more observant of. Maybe you have noticed that, like in the summertime or in the fall, like I feel like I shed a lot more versus in the spring or in the wintertime. Keep that in mind. But that's what I read. Our shedding phase can last up to 4 months. And remember that 11% that I said was doing something else, because 88% is growing, 1% is shedding, and that other 11% is resting. That 1%, so 88% is growing, 1% is resting, and that other 11% is in the shed phase. So when we're shedding, that's a natural occurrence. New hair takes 130 days to emerge if the hair is pulled out, or if you pull out a strand of hair that does not naturally shed or come out on its own. It takes that hair about 130 days to regrow and submerge. There is a difference between shed hair and breakage. As I shared when we were talking about our hair shaft and the hair structure, as far as the different layers of a hair strand. When the hair grows, it the foundation of a hair strand has a bulb on it. It's like whenever a natural shed hair comes out, if you take a look at that strand of hair, you should see a white bulb at the end of that strand. Well, not the end, at the beginning of that strand. Basically where it come out from the root, there should be a white bulb. That is a indicator that that is a natural piece of hair that came out, because that is what it should have done. If you find a piece of hair that does not have that bulb on it, and ideally it's probably shorter because it was broken, that's breakage. So that's the difference between shed hair, and that's the difference between breakage. On average, we shed about 75 to 150 strands per day. On average. Again, that may be less for some, or it may be a little bit more, but on average, and honestly, different sources range different things. I've seen 75 to 150 strands. I've seen 100 to 200 strands. I've seen 125 to 175. It's just going to vary, but our hair shed, and that is a natural process. But on average, we shed, I'm going to just use the number that I started off using when I first started coaching, which is 75 to 150 strands per day. So if you think about that, on average, I encourage everyone to wash your hair every 7 to 10 days. Now, I'm gonna do the math, and I'm going to use my calculator. So if we and I'm gonna use the lowest amount, which is 75. So we shed 75 strands a day, and you wash every 7 days. So 75 times 7, that's approximately 525 strands of shed hair that you're going to collect on wash day, and that's on the low end. That's at 75 strands per day. If we go on the high end, what I said, 75 to 150. So 150 times 7, that's 1,050 shed hairs on wash day. So it's normal to see shed hair on wash day. And the longer you go between washes, the more shed hair you're going to have. So keep that in mind when we're talking about shed hair, or when you're looking at your shed hair. For one, how long has it been since you between washes? Let's start there. For the girlies or the ladies, like I know it used to be me, and I ain't gonna even lie. I used to wear my braids, and I keep my braids in for 6 to 8 weeks, and I would take them out, and and you know, when you have braids, you be like, oh snap, I got all this new growth. Oh, my hair gonna be so long. And then you take them braids out, you detangle and whatnot. And at this time, I didn't even know how to properly detangle my hair. I didn't know nothing about like conditioning my hair, or doing all of the things that you can do to minimize detangling during a phase like that. And then you detangle and you see all of this hair, you be like, oh my God, like all my hair falling out. Like, no, not really. That's just shed hair. That's literally 6 weeks of shed hair that's just been sitting in the week after week. Hey, Katina. I didn't even know you was on. Hey, girl. But yes. So, let me make sure. Okay. So, that's the shed phase. So, I'm going to show you all some shed hair examples that I collected. So, this not my most recent shed wash. It's the one, the second, the last one that I did. I think, whenever my last wash was, y'all, I can't remember. But I'm going to show you my shed hair, my daughter's shed hair, and then my son's shed hair. I'm going to start with mine first. So, Not this. She's why I didn't want to be rude. Girl, it's okay. So I typically wash my hair every 6 to 7 days. Usually Sunday is wash day. Depending on if life, life be life in some time, and I might have to wash on Monday or Tuesday. So on average, 7 days max, maybe 9, but I don't go no longer than 10 days. So if this particular wash, I think I went 8 days between washes. So this is what my shed hair looks like for 8 days. I'm gonna say this was 8 days. This is what my shed hair looks like. And this is not bad. Before, as Miss Bernice said, your trims play a role in your shed hair because the dead ends, they live at the end. And the new hair can't thrive when there's dead ends there. It's preventing it from doing what it's supposed to do. Not only are you going to have increased shed hair, but you're going to experience fairy knots and tangles. And so when I tell you guys to learn your hair, do what works for your hair. Build a relationship with your hair. Me and Sunflower, we got a relationship. I know when Sunflower needs something. I know when she don't need something. I know when Sunflower need a trim because Sunflower will start fairy knotting on me. And when I say fairy knotting, like the ends, like my ends and my dead ends, they'll get the knotting, and then like I usually keep a pair of shears in the shower with me because I have a fairy knot of a strand that the shed hair done got caught on the end, and I have to cut it. So for me, that is an indicator that it's time to get a trim. Before I got my trim in January, when I got my hair colored and trimmed, this was nothing. I was shedding way more than this. This is what my shed hair looks like now since I've gotten my trim. And this is not even bad. The one that when I washed my hair, when did I wash? Sunday? Monday? I can't remember. I'm on day 3. So I washed 3 days ago. It's less than this. And that was 7 days in between that wash. So that's my shed hair. Now, I'm going to show you my daughter's shed hair. This is a little over 14 days because we missed her first wash day. We missed her second wash day, and then we end up washing midweek. So this is her shed hair. So this is a little bit over 14 days. I'm going to say about 16 days of shed hair from her hair. And this is about average for her. Yeah, this is about average. We try to wash her hair every 7 days, and so it's maybe a little bit half of this, but for 2 weeks, this is average for her. This is average. And it's been a while. Well, I just actually trimmed her hair her last wash. We washed her last Wednesday. And so if you caught my live when I did Mr. Curl Papa wash and I did his trim, I did her the same way on Wednesday. So I'm expecting when we go back and wash her this week that our shed hair is definitely going to be less than this because we got rid of a lot of dead ends. Now this last one is Mr. Curl Papa. He does not shed a lot. I wouldn't say I wouldn't have to put a hair catcher down because like he literally sheds minimum hair. But this is his shed hair, and he literally gets washed every 7 days. I wash his because he does a lot of running and playing and sweating and rolling on the ground. So he like to wear his curls, and when his curls get dehydrated, it's cute, but it's just time to reset. This is his shed hair, and this is literally 7 days, and this is actually probably a little bit more than what he typically sheds, but this is his shed hair. So you get to see the difference. This is his 7 days versus my 7 days. And then this is Little Daisy, Sade. This is about 2 weeks. about 16 days because it was like midweek. So yeah. So shedding is normal. However, shedding can be controlled by trimming your ends, understanding the difference between shedding and breakage. So when you are detangling your hair, for one, I don't detangle my hair on. I do not detangle my hair when it's dry. I am detangling my hair on soaking wet hair and is lathered in conditioner. Period. I if I am doing like when I'm flat twisting my hair, I'll like comb the ends out, but it's still wet. I Since I've been on this journey, I have not put a comb, brush, or anything to my hair dry. It's always wet. That for me is easier to detangle and it prevents any type of breakage or damage to the hair. So being gentle when you're detangling, making sure the hair is saturated. You're using great conditioner that has great slip. Y'all know I'm a curl mix. The only thing I use on my hair is Curl Mix. Curl Mix has great products, great ingredients. It's natural, it's organic. They botanical, they the bomb. They water based, they're the bomb. Their conditioners are absolutely everything. So you guys are Curl Mix. Most of y'all are Curl Mixes, so we know that the conditioners are great. I don't detangle on dry hair. It's always extremely wet conditioner. Curl Mix's conditioner has great slip, so it makes finger detangling easy or going in with a brush. But shedding is normal. It's a normal phase of the hair, but there are things you can do to reduce the amount of shedding. And as Miss Bernice said, getting those trims is extremely important. Matter of fact, Sunflower go for her, would it be 6 weeks or 8 weeks? 6, 7, 8. 8 weeks. We'll be getting our 8-week trim next Wednesday. So you guys will see Sunflower in a blowed out state with a fresh trim. And I'll post videos of comparing my trim back in January to this trim so we can see if there's been any growth. I'm going to try to capture a picture to see how much hair get cut, just so we can keep an eye on that. Miss Bernice said, do you think it's because Mr. Curl Popper has those loose curls? Honestly, Miss Bernice, I don't know. I've been asking myself that from the very beginning. Even when we started his journey, his hair was this long. He did not shed. Like, honestly, he didn't shed for quite some time. And when he started shedding is when I was like, hold up, why is he shedding? Like, sir never sheds. And so at that point I was like, he's never had his ends like clipped. Now before, we were like blowing his hair out and he would go to the barbershop to get like his tape up and whatnot. And I would have my husband tell the barber to kind of just like even his fro out or whatnot. But that wasn't technically clipping his ends, but that's what we were doing. And so when I noticed that he was shedding, it's like, he needs a trim. And I trimmed his hair, and he, like, literally a few strands. And so I don't know if it's his texture or his curl pattern. I'm not sure is that because maybe, he's only 7, so we go by what I just shared far as like our growth phase and our resting phase. It could be that he's not quite in that shed phase right now. He's just kind of really growing, and once his growth phase stop and rest, and then it go through the shedding phase. I don't know. We're just taking it one day I ain't gonna say one day at a time. We're taking it weeks by weeks, but this is the most that he has shedded since we've been on this journey. So I'm not quite sure. I'm just being observant, but I do know he was not shedding, and I thought it was quite weird. I was like, why he not shed? Like, literally, I would have the hair catchers on the floor in the shower, and it'd be like few strands. So And then it could be the great products that we're using. Who knows? Who knows? But you know, and that's why I say get to know your hair, learn your hair, because not only do I have to learn my hair, but I have my baby boy hair to learn, and I have my daughter hair, and they literally have two different heads of hair. Like you would think since they got the same mom and daddy, like, ooh, they gonna have similar hair. No, not even, not even, not even. So yeah. Without the knowledge you are providing, most would freak out with the amount of share. Absolutely. You know, and for me, it was an aha moment for me when I started learning about shed hair and the amount that we're losing. Cause I was like I literally wore braids probably 89% of the 14 years that I've been natural. Well, minus the last two. And you know, I used to just, I don't even think I knew about shed hair. Um, I just, I just knew it was hair that was coming out when I was detangling. Like, well, I guess I did. Maybe I did. I call it shed hair. I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know. It's just all the hair that came out during detangling, but I never, I never thought about it like that. I definitely used to feel like I'm losing a lot of hair, but now that I know better, it's like, huh, that's just weeks. Them literally six weeks of shed hair just stacked on top of each other, stacked on top of each other. So when you know better, you do better, and I hope that whomever um go back and catch this replay, it's an aha moment for them, and they're uh more aware of what's going on and possibly come up with a better plan. Because I've learned different ways to take care of my hair if I were to wear braids. But the last time I wore braids, those things were so heavy on my head, and they weren't even heavy. But I was just like, oh my god, like I want my curls back, and I haven't had braids yet. I haven't had braids since. All right, so we discussed our anagen phase, which is the growing phase. We talked about the catagen phase, which is our resting phase. We discussed the telogen phase, which is our shedding phase. And then this last phase, I put it in the same category as the resting phase because it's called the exogen phase, which is the dormant phase. Excuse me, y'all. It's the dormant phase, and that's basically when the follicles rest and prepares for a new growth cycle. So no, I guess that wouldn't be the same phase because the hair grows, it rests, it shed, and then it lay dormant. And then it prepares for another cycle. So yeah. So then you have the last phase is the dormant phase. So after the shed hair naturally comes out, that particular follicle is resting and it prepares for a new growth phase. And the dormant phase can last from 5 to 7 months. And that also is going to vary depending on your age. So I'm assuming that if you're up in age, your dormant phase may last a little bit longer before you go back and before your cycle begins again. Okay. So if you have any questions, comments, please put them in the comments for me. Hopefully I did not confuse nobody. I often like to make the disclaimer that I am not a cosmetologist. I am not a licensed professional. I am sharing my personal experience. I am sharing knowledge that I have gained and obtained from other naturals and curl mixers and coaches, knowledge that I've gained from just curiosity and research, knowledge that I've gained from reading different sources of hair books and things like that. So everything I'm sharing is stuff that can be Googled and researched. I always say, what's the word I'm looking for? Do your due diligence. I won't intentionally share anything that I don't know. If I don't know, I'm like, I don't know. This is what I heard, or this is what I think, or this is my experience. But anything that I'm sharing or discussing is Googleable. Go Google it and fact check me. And if it's something wrong, let me know. And I'm open to learn and change the way I think and view my hair. And so, Yeah, so there is, so in the midst of me just learning about the different phases of the hair cycle, I came across this it's not really another phase, but it's called terminal length. And so you think about terminal length. Basically, if you never cut your hair, like from birth until never, that's the maximal potential length of a hair strand. Like that's the maximal length that your hair would grow before it goes through all the different phases. And so I can't remember how many miles that would look like, but it did source how many miles that would look like if you were to allow your hair to reach its terminal length. And so our hair grows 1/4 to a half an inch per month. So I think I said that wrong. I think I said a half an inch to an inch a month, but it's 1/4 to a half an inch per month. And our length of our hair, that depends on genetics. Of course, we're doing the best care. We're doing the best thing we can do for our hair, as far as caring for it, maintaining it, and all of those things. But how can I say this? I'm trying to see how can I say this. I don't know. But length, your length depends on your genetics, and not just not just hair care. We take care of our hair, but genetics also play a huge factor in, again, our overall health and different things that we encounter in life. But breakage or breakage or not cutting the hair from reaching its terminal length. So, if we never cut it, if we never experience any type of breakage, and factor in genetics, that's, what that terminal length would look like. But the key takeaway is the hair growth cycle is continuous, and with each strand going through the process, it's a daily process that each individual hair strand is going through. So that's the phase, that's the cycle. I hope that as you're building that relationship with your hair, as you're beginning to learn your hair, some of these things, you're like, there's some aha moments, and you're like, oh, okay, this is not as bad as I thought it was. Or maybe you're like, maybe I do need to go talk to my primary care doctor, or maybe I need to go see a dermatologist. If you're experiencing excessive shedding, so every time you comb your hair is coming out in clumps, you're seeing thinning or bald spots, like that is definitely something internal going on. You definitely want to go see a dermatologist. You want to go talk to a primary care doctor. Like, you want to seek some type of professional guidance, because as I shared when we were talking about our scalp health, and how the hair forms and produces itself. We're born with as many hair follicles as we're going to have. That's predetermined at birth. Like, that's predetermined when you're in your mother's womb, how much hair you gonna have. So there's no medicine, there's no oil, there's no product, there's no nothing that's going to give you more hair than what you were genetically meant to have. So the hair that you have, the follicles that you have, you definitely want to take care of them, especially if you're noticing that some abnormalities, some huge changes going on. Like, you definitely want to get them addressed, because that's all we got. That's them all the follicles you gonna get. We can't produce no more, and so we want to definitely take care of the ones what we have, preserve what we have, care and love on what we currently have, and keep them healthy, strong, um, in our routine so that they can continue to grow. So that is my chat for tonight. I hope you guys were informed. I appreciate the engagement and the comments. I'm definitely going to go back. I'm pretty sure I missed some, but I'm definitely going to go back and read. And I'm pretty sure as people start to watch the replay, more comments and engagement will take place. So I really appreciate you all. Please don't forget to share this live for me. Tag someone that you know that could be benefiting for this. You may know someone who was just talking about my hair is falling out, I don't know what to do. Share this live and hopefully maybe it brings some insight to them. And next week we will be exploring the unique characteristics of our hair and their impact and on care and styling. So our hair characteristics and how it impacts how we care for our hair and how we style our hair. We each one of us have unique hair and strands. Each one of us are unique. Even our DNA is unique. So of course our hair is unique. So we'll be just diving in and chatting about those characteristics. And that's all I got for tonight, Coach Trell. Your discussion was awesome. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you, Miss Bernice. Thank you for joining. It is 7:30. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it. So I will catch you guys back here next week. As of now, we're going to keep the time at 8 p.m., which is my normal time. If something changes, I will let you all know as early as possible. As I did today, I seen that P.A.C.E is doing her Ambassador Live on the Curl Mix page. So that'll start in 30 minutes. So after y'all, go get you something to drink, go use the restroom, grab you some snacks, and then we're going to go over to the Curl Mixers page, the main Curl Mixers page, and watch P.A.C.E do her updo. I think she's doing an updo on her hair tonight. We doing these alternative styles. I don't know what mine's going to be next week. My live will be next week on the Curl Mixers page. I'll probably be going live at 8. You know what? I don't have to work that Thursday because we'll be on spring break. I don't know what time I'm going to go live yet. But I go live Thursday, which I believe is the 20th. Let me double check, y'all. I'm going to tell no stories because I can't go back and edit the live once I say it. So, yes, the 20th. So, next week, next Thursday, I'll be live on the Curl Mixers page doing whatever exceptional style I'll be doing on Sunflower. We shall see that day. Wednesday next week, we'll meet back here. 8 p.m. and we'll be main chatting about hair characteristics and how that impacts our care and styling. So thank you guys for joining me. If you are in need of one-on-one coaching services, if you need to come up with a regimen, you need product recommendations, I would like to be your go-to person. My website is still under commission. I'm still trying to work on it. But send me a DM and I will get back with you and we will come up with a plan. If you need some support, you need some encouragement, let me know. That's what I am here for. I am Coach Trell. I am your curly coach, and I am honored that you guys gave me this title. You guys and Curl Mix. Curl Mix let me be a curl coach, and then y'all was like, Coach Trell. And I was like, huh? And it sticks. I ran into a curl mixer at one of my salon visits, and she was like, Coach Trell. I was like, and y'all know that was very weird because I never hear Coach Trell. I just see Coach Trell in the comments and in the chats, but to hear it out loud, I was like, oh snap, she talking about me. Hey girl. But yes, I'm finna get ready to go. Yes ma'am, it's the 20th. I'll post the time. I'm not quite sure yet. Cause usually I do later in the evening, but since we'll be on spring break, I might can do it earlier in the day. But we'll see. But thank you guys for joining me. I will probably catch most of y'all on the Curl Mix page as we watch P.A.C.E. We're going to go over there and support her. And yeah, so that's all I got for you all. Have a great night. Enjoy yourselves. And until next time.